Right, I think we can start. Great. I hope everyone is having a great Sunday. Uh, so today let's talk a bit about Mari. So this is going to be more like a global overview of what is Mari. That's not going to be like a step-by-step tutorial to see how you can start your project and such. Like I'm mainly going to talk about what you need to know, why using Mari, and things like that. So first, a bit of presentation. My name is Liam. I'm a surfacing lighting TD, currently working at Worldwide FX as a lighting TD. Uh, if you want just to know a bit about more about me, I'm going to do a bit of advertisement. So you can check the channel, the text channel that is just above this channel, streaming voice chat, where I'm going to share some useful link along the presentation. So right now this is just my personal website, and there what I did also is this. So this is just a quick Notion document that gathers some useful resource. If you want to check Mari, I'm going to get back on it later, but I put it here for now. And that's it. Last year I worked on some short movies project. I shared the Art Station project in the artwork channel. You can see above. So this is this project. If you want to check it, it's in the artwork channel. So I pretty use Mari everywhere for a lot of things. I did some set surfacing like this cathedral, gate, some props, some characters and such, and everything was done in Mari. Learned a lot on this. But maybe I'll do a project breakdown another time, not for now. So, wait, let me find my notes. Okay, first, why would you want to use Mari? First, because it's an industry standard. Every big studio use Mari, even if nowadays Substance is more and more used, mainly because now it has great UDIM support and as such, but Mari is still there. And I think if you're aiming to find a job as a texture artist, you will have to learn Mari from one point, because just it will get you better chance to find a job in the VFX industry, of course. If you're aiming for the, I don't know, video games industry, I don't think Mari is used at all. Never heard about it. Even if a lot of companies are using only Substance, I know maybe like some advertisement or cinematic studio like Goodbye Kansas, and just things that comes to my mind. I think they pretty use Substance a lot, but yeah, Mari is used everywhere. So why does Mari is more used in the industry than Substance? First, because it's like a tank. You can see it like a tank. It's slow, but it's really reliable, and it allows for a lot of flexibility. Like you can do anything inside Mari. It can hit any model. There is a kind of really great example recently that was discussed on the Mari server. You can see the Mari server in the resources. There was a discussion about like UDIM counts in Mari, and there was some artist from Digital Domain that was sharing his experience on working on the Changchi. I don't know how to call this, but the fortress like on the background that has something like 1,000 UDIMs. So yeah, quite a lot. And this was done in Mari. So yeah, Mari can ingest a lot of UDIMs, and it's not that slow. Let's say that the slowness of Mari is kind of constant. No matter if you have like 1,000 UDIMs or 200 UDIMs, you will get approximately, I think, the same speed. There's just, of course, some operation that will be longer, but that's why Mari is so great. It's because it can hit anything. Like right now here I have a project open that was my biggest one that have something like maybe 100 UDIMs, and it's a cathedral. And yeah. Once you done something, it's not that fast, but like I can navigate without issue, and I can even tweak some things without problem. So yeah, that's why Mari is great. It's because it can hit anything. Then of course there is a node graph. This is, I think, the best reason to use Mari instead of Substance, and what's different them the best. Like here, the node graph is so powerful. If you are used to using node graph, I don't know, in Substance Designer, in Houdini or anything, you know how much nodes are more powerful than layer, and that's one of the best reasons to use Mari. And even if you don't like nodes, I do think you need to use nodes, but we will get on this later. And then some other stuff, like it's pipeline ready. It has a full Python API that allow you to do basically anything. You could create like a full node graph with Python if you want. It can be very well integrated into pipeline and stuff. And it has very great painting tools. I'm not going to dive into the details, but like there is a lot of tools in Mari, and even more with the extension pack. I'm going to talk about the extension pack later, but there is a lot of tools to do like anything. The only issue is like to find them. You need to find these tools, but yeah, it can do anything. There is some very great stuff. Like here, I'm maybe going to find some paint. And there is like warp tool that allow you to warp your painting. This is something that miss in Substance right now, and it's very powerful in Mari. You can manipulate your painting layer very easily, tweak everything. Another great thing is like mesh hidings and groups, which I think has been added recently into Substance. But like here, for example, I have some selection groups that allow me to quickly basically hide what I don't need to work, and only focus on the best stuff. This is very useful. You can even get this one from Maya, so you can have the same selection group like in Maya and in Mari, which is kind of useful, and this is very powerful. And there is a lot of useful feature everywhere, but the best thing is just to test it to see how well it will go for you. Just before, let's talk a bit about licensing. I'm not a guy from Foundry or anything, but just so you can know a bit about what to accept from Mari. So wait, product. Let's go back to Mari. So there is quite a lot of license. So you have the non-commercial license that try for free. I can't remember. I think this one. It was this one. Yeah, it was this one. Okay. So you have a lot of license. You have first the non-commercial license that is just free. You can do anything inside. There is just some limitation, like you're limited to the number of UDIMs. I can't remember how many UDIMs, but something like maybe 5 or 6. If someone knows them, you can write it. But yeah, you're mainly limited about the number of UDIM, but it's very great if you want to start texturing and learning Mari. You can just put some model with a few UDIMs and start texturing. It's free. It's non-commercial, of course, so you can't do professional stuff or anything, but for learning it is just perfect. And then for the licensing, I think this is the cheapest Foundry product. You can get a license for 60 by month or 600 a year, which is I guess okay if you're doing some freelancing work, but is of course still kind of quite expensive, but it's not that bad. And also for students there is an educative license, so this is not only for Mari. Here it's for everything. I need to find it here. Education collective. Where you can apply if you are a student, and you can get basically all the Foundry product for free without any limitation. So if you're a student, just apply for this because it's just so good. Even if Foundry is known for having very high price, here it's just so good to have like a free Mari product. Like you have Nuke, you have Katana, you have yeah, you have everything, and it's just great. So have it. And else you have, of course, the 30-day free trial for Maui, where you can have an unlimited version for 30 days, which is what I'm using right now because I don't have any more license at my on my personal computer. But yeah, great. A lot of choice for licensing. So let's dive a bit into Maui for now. So first, when you open Maui, you have the project system. It can be quite confusing at first because like you will never have to open the file manually on your disk like you may do with Substance or anything. It's like you have a hub with all of your projects, and your projects are stored at a specific place. You can specify it in the preference, and yeah. The quite tricky thing is, for example, if you want to share projects, you can't just go into your files and look for your project, for example, because it's a lot of file that may not work if you share them. Like this is my Maui folder. You can see random names, and you just can't share this. So there is a system to create a Maui archive. So this will create a single file that you can share to anyone, and anyone can open it if it has, of course, the right Maui version and things. So this is it for projects. What you need to know also is that everything is stored into the project, like all of your textures, the model, and anything. Even if it's no more on your disk, it's in your project, so you don't have to worry about this. So here I have my Cathedral project. So as you can see, for now it's quite fast, but yeah, Maui, sometimes when you will start to work, it can become quite slow to do some modification. For example, here I'm going to dive into it. Like, by the way, yeah, just to have a quick look, there is like, if you already used Nuke, you will be it will be very familiar, but like there is this system into the nodegraph to preview node that is very useful, where you can have the viewer, and with the numeric keyboard you can just press 1, 2, or 3, and you can have different inputs of your model. Like for example, here I have my base color. Here I'm going to press 2 and have my specular roughness. So it's going to take a bit of time, but yeah. And yeah, this is very useful stuff that allow you to quickly switch between things. Like for example here, let's wait a bit. Yeah, that's going to be the issue by showing Maui stuff. It's going to be quite slow. So here I have my specular roughness, and I can switch now between both by pressing 1 or 2. So here you go, very useful stuff, but yeah, you can see it quite slow. My recommendation is of course to think to install Maui on a SSD. There is some performance stuff that you can check, and other. Please do join the Maui Discord, because on the Discord, if you look at it, into the Maui Fact channel. Wait, let me find my screen, like here into the Maui Fact channel, you will be able to find some very useful tips for Maui, and like there was even something about performance here. Someone from Foundry explained exactly how Maui was working, so which hardware into your computer has which importance on Maui. So SSD for read-write speed, which can greatly help. So trying to maximize your logs to not having a slow Maui, and things like that. Of course, it needs a good GPU to work. If you are on maybe a laptop with a poor graphic card, you will have a hard time using it. Maybe with one UDIMS it can be okay. There are some tricks to optimize performance to Maui, like its name, the breakpoint node. It allows you just to bake your node graph into just one node to simplify performance, but I'm not going to explain it today. because well, some other people did better than myself. So please, again, do watch the tutorials that are here, where some people really explain a lot of useful stuff. So yeah. Then right now I was showing you the node graph, but in Maui there is a layer system that is existing. Well, I'm going to, here you go. So there is a layer system that comes from the old version of Maui. Before Maui was a layer-based texturing application. Now it has a node graph. And if you think about should I use the layer stack or should I use the node graph, use the node graph. I think nowadays there is absolutely no reason to ever use the layer stack back again. There is still some people that are using it, mainly character artists, and you may still find some tutorials that explain with the layer stack system, but I think nowadays you are just limiting yourself if you're using the layer stack. The layer stack, and you better start using the node graph system. It's so powerful and it's just so much fun once you get used to it. So use the node graph system. Yeah. To go a bit about the node graph system, I'm just going to share with you another link. So this is a small tutorial that is not made by me. Let me find back streaming channel. Just saw the message from Nicety. Told the stream was not loaded properly. Anyone else having issue maybe with the stream, or it's okay?
It's okay. It's just a bit lagging, but it's
okay. Yeah, I think it's Mary that is making my computer dying while I'm streaming and recording at the same time. So sorry if there is any lag. As long as you're hearing my voice fine, I think it's good. So here you go. It's uploaded on Mega. It's just a smaller archive with a video and some text. So it's something that someone from another Discord server showed me. His name is Vincent Duponchel. So he's the asset supervisor at Micros, and he shows some very interesting tips for texturing. For organizing your Maui node graph. I let you download this and see what he's explaining, but this is like very useful. He is using a smart trick to use like backdrop node and such, and with a sticky note inside to allow to quickly drag and move things. I have it on my project like here. It allows you, like when you're far away, you can just do that, and then you click on the sticky note and you can move quickly everything, because the sticky note has a huge bounding box, so you can quickly move things. It's very useful, and I think having a very clean node graph will help you just have a better texturing for you and everything. And even if you find some works, your coworkers will like you better if you have a more organized node graph. So I think it's very useful to follow his organization techniques. It just requires the extension pack to have the radio node and such. So talking about extension pack, I'm maybe going to explain what it is. So basically, it's an extension for Maui. Like all the features you would like to have in Maui and you don't have, they are in the extension pack. So the link is here, so you can have a look. So it's a plugin you can pay small amount. I think 60 euros for me here is nothing for such features that is bring. There is a lot of features. You have new nodes. You have there is so much thing I can't tell, but like there is really a lot of nodes that are added that are very useful. So should you buy it? I think if you're beginning right now, you don't need to buy it now. Keep learning the basics, like just follow basic tutorials for now, and try to get yourself comfortable around like the basic nodes of Mari. And when you feel you get enough, you learned enough about Mari, you can maybe start to see for the extension pack, because it will really improve your workflow. Here the main cool thing is a radio node, that like here, if I'm pressing, I think I forgot the shortcut, it's Shift plus R, Control. Like here, you can see you have this concept of radio node that allow you to hide connection, that is very useful to have a kind of organized graph. So this is very useful. There is a lot of nodes you can use. Like here, I'm using some custom node. This one is named Spotify. It's one from the extension pack. So as I said, learn the basic first, and then if you're really interested in Mari, if you're really interested in texturing and you want to do more about texturing, for sure buy the extension pack, because it brings so much thing that it's just great. So yeah, that's what the extension pack is. And by the way, don't be afraid to like use it a lot now, and maybe in studio you would think that you won't have access to it, but I think nowadays every studio has the extension pack installed, because it just brings so much things. So you won't get lost if you're in a big studio, because they will probably have also the extension pack installed. So don't worry about this. So yeah, with all of this combined, the extension pack, you can do some very useful stuff, and great thing. Maybe what I'm going to show, yeah, I'm going to start a quick project. Let's close this one. This is going to take a bit of time. For now, what I could talk about, yeah, I mentioned also PTEX. Don't know if you ever heard about this word. Right on top. If you did some grooming with XGen, you probably heard about it. It's just a texture format from Pixar that is supported in Mari. That's why it's industry standard, because I think it's one of the few tools that support PTEX. I don't think you have to care about it if you're not using Wonderman or if you're not doing grooming, because, well, it's not supported everywhere. But for grooming, what is very useful is that you can actually paint your grooming maps that should be PTEX files. XGen is only reading PTEX files, so you can paint them in Mari, and then with some hacks you can put them into XGen, and you use it straight. It avoid to have to textures maps into Maya, or trying to convert your textures into Maya, which sometimes can be kind of clunky, and as such, that's also another use case for Mari. So let's create a quick project. Let's find an asset. We're going to go from kind of wooden bucket here, test bucket. Here we go. And from it, you have a few options on the menu. I think there is documentation on things for this. Like here, it asks you to, if you want to create a selection group from Maya, the thing you saw on the right a bit before. Here, I don't need it. UV and things. So another useful thing is that you can choose what you want to import. For example, here I know I would not need this channel. Like here, it asks me what kind of template I can use to create my shading. There is a lot of supported shaders in Mari, but I don't think this is something you need to care about for now, because you will see when I will do a quick example. Shading is not something I use a lot. What it does is mainly it's for the naming convention of the channels, but this is something you can change quite easily. So for now, like for example, you can use the Arnold standard surface. The only downside of using this one it has a lot of channel, and you will see later why it can be annoying to have so much channel. So you can use maybe something like this one that is much more light. You can even create yourself a shader that is quite complicated and advanced topic, but you can even create one. Like I tried to create one for Redshift with the Redshift naming convention, but for now it's still beta. And yeah, so here I'm just going to let this color setting. Here I'm just using ISS for this project, but I think I could disable it. Yeah, no, I'm going to let it. You can load some lighting, but we can do this later. So create a new project. Let's see. So by default, it will create some nodes that I always like delete because not useful. This is mainly because of the to have it working into the layer stack. Here, you can actually have a node graph that is both working in node graph mode and in layer mode. But if you're using only the node graph, it will be nearly impossible to have also the layer stack working. But if you really need both to work together, you can have it. But I don't see so much utilization so much reason to have both working. So for now, here is a pretty simple bucket and with basic shader, and there is no lighting. So yeah, quite annoying. One thing we can do. Let's open the object. So yeah, I'm maybe going to dive this. So this is like your main menu. Yeah, this is a menu for menus, something like we could say that. So here I'm just going to object. Here we go. One thing very useful in Maui is that you can smooth your mesh if you want. For example, here. Just going to hide this one. Okay. So here I can go to this. Wait, let me find it. Subdivision. No, I think it was from object. Subdivide. Okay, subdivision level. I think this is an extension pack feature. I can't remember, but you can basically subdivide your mesh into Maui if you didn't already did it in Maya, which allow to have a smooth preview. There is like also very useful features into the object stack to just make Maui very powerful. You can add version about your mesh. Like for example, here I have only this version, but what I can do is now I'm going to add a version. So add version. This is an extension pack feature too. It adds some ND. I need to be here, I think, to add it. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't want to work. Yeah, I think I can change the version for now. But yeah, you can add multiple versions. So for example, if you're working on a character, you can have some like a version that is in T-pose and another version that like have maybe a mouse open to allow you to texture the inside of the mouse. And what is very useful is that you can just go here and quickly switch between the version. Like here, you can quickly switch. Yeah, I don't know why the fuck. Yeah, I have a lot of hierarchy for nothing here. I think I did something wrong when I imported my object. This is a thing that can be quite tricky in Maui. There is a lot of things that could go wrong, and at first you will sometimes press button and everything will go wrong, and you will be, what the fuck did I just do? How do I undo this? So this is something that can be quite frustrating at the beginning, but you get used to it, and the more you learn Maui, the more easy it will become, of course. So I think here, yeah, it's working. Level like I can be 1, and now I have a perfectly smooth bucket, and at any time I can tell, yeah, I don't want the smooth level, I want the smooth level. Not anymore. I can of course hide object. I can create selection groups if I want, as I did it. So for example, yeah, this is things that can be quite complicated. For example, if you want to select a mesh, you have first like here, I'm not selecting the mesh, I'm selecting UDIMs. So first I have to, for example, go here into face mode, then I have to check that I have this smart selection mode activated, like connected mesh, and only here I can select individual mesh like this. This is why it can be quite complicated, because there is sometimes a lot of step to just do something. So here I can do this, I can create, for example, selection group. Let's call it blanks, and then I can just hide them like this. Very useful. And yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to show a bit how you can organize how you can start your texturing for example. So the first thing I do is always I'll delete all the node and just keep my channels node. So yeah, channels is basically the end of your node graph. It's the things that you have at the end and that will be exported. It just you can create any number of channel you want. You can find them here also. This is of course coming from the layer stack system, but like I think I never used this one, but this is basically linked this one. So like for example here I could add a new channel node. Could name it like yeah, maybe ISO mask for doing some mask. Yeah, maybe going to call it specular. Choose something, scholar data, all objects, and here I have a new specular channel, for example. And when I going to export my textures, this is what's going to appear into my texture list. It's these channels. So yeah, always start with this channel. And then for texturing, you will find a lot of different ways to start texturing depending on which one you're looking at. There is a lot of ways to achieve what you want. But here I'm just going to introduce you some very useful features. There is a material system into Mari that is quite recent. So this is why choosing the white shader at the beginning is important, because it will define what material you can create and what material you can connect. So for example, here at start I choose the principal BRDF as a shader. Here it's just a shader. It's just here for viewport preview, but this doesn't affect how my maps are exported or anything. Like this is just for viewport preview. So now if I create material, I have all my material templates. So here I'm going to keep the same just for the example. Like I'm going to create an empty one. You have a small green node that appears and that have a simple output. But actually, if you expand it, you will see that you have all the channels that are defined here. So that's why, for example, if you use the Arnold standard surface, things going to get tricky, because right now, if I expand it, well, there is a lot of input output, and it can be quite annoying when you are inside. So control enter to get inside, but I let you watch tutorial to better use material. Here I'm just introducing you the concept of materials. So when you get inside, you have access to like we could say sub channel that are just output port. So for example, here I'm going to create, this is also one of the reasons of why the extension pack is useful. Like you have access to this small radial menu that is very useful. Here I can just quickly create a color, or else I can just press color and create a node like this. So here I'm just going to create a beautiful red into the base, and as you can see here I can connect it. It's going to connect me only the top. So this is not going to work for specular. For example, here it's going to make me specular. So here I'm just going to connect it like this, for example. So where is metalness? Here, roughness, and as such we're not going to do them all. And here, as you can see, you have a red bucket. This is a concept of material, but why it's useful? It's because actually you have only one. You only need to make this manual connection one time. Here we're going to use the multi-channel merge. This one. that is of course as again working with your material. That's why it's kind of important to stick with the same shading system all the way along. So here I'm going to expand it, do the same, like for example here specular, metallic, and here we go. And then what you can do, just here, I'm going to have my material. Wait, which one was? Yeah, no, okay, this one was good. So here I'm going to create another material, for example, principal PDF. I remove this, and here I can quickly merge materials without having to deal with all the connection. That's why the material system is really powerful for mixing stuff. And here it's a way of texturing I think everyone should have, because it's just closer to what's in real life. Like for example, on this bucket, I'm just going to disconnect this so we can see better. We can say that I have maybe just going to make it a bit darker. Yeah, like that, so we can see something. I'm maybe going to have like 3 materials. Like here I have a metal for this, and maybe for here for this part, and for the planks I have a wooden material, and maybe from here I can do like a fake wheat material maybe that act as a placeholder. So we can say that I have 3 materials. So what I can do is I do my 3 materials like this. Here it means that I first need to do, that's why I'm just going to create another multi-channel merge, principal. Okay, so here, just in one click, here you go. Then what I can do here is add another one over, and here for example I now have my 3 materials setup that I can quickly rename. For example wood, here I can have metal, here I can have wheat, and then inside I can work on the material. So here for example on the wood I'm going to make let's go for this, let's go for point material. So the color picker is kind of funky here. I don't know why it's act like this. So I can make here, we're just going to connect it back. Here you go. You have the wood materials. So you just have to keep in mind here, I'm going the flow of your materials. So now for assigning the material, we are going to use, for example, a paint node. Here, paint node is like, it's for making paints. It's you use it as a paint buffer, and the advantage is of course you can reuse it everywhere. That's why nodes are so powerful. For example, here I'm going to plug it here. What I can even do here is, for example, select selection group. Okay, I don't think it's going to work. Yes, it's working. I do that, then I do that. I'm filling it in white. And here I have here in the width is the red material that get mixed with the metal material that is empty, so it just produces nothing. Then you go here, then here over I put the wood material, and then here I have a mask that if I have a look at it, you can see that it I didn't create it correctly, but like here it should be black because there is nothing, it's alpha 0, and here it's white because there is paint. So here alpha 1 for example, and things like that. And then I could reuse this mask everywhere in my node graph to maybe create something else or reuse it. So just have a look at the material system. You can find it on the Michael Ward channel. This one is explaining the material system. It's very good. So just follow his tutorial. I think it's very important. Maybe not important, but it's very useful to learn the material system to just craft better things. And yeah, that was just a quick demo for this. Let me let me just look at the streaming voice chat to see if I didn't miss anything. And yes, Chewy Pixels, the stream will be recorded and will probably be posted on RV channel. I guess, I don't know. We will see. And yeah, so material system, very important in my opinion to learn it, at least to understand how it works. So right now, if you never use Mari, you are probably very confused because yeah, well, maybe my way of explaining things is not the best, and Mari can be quite confusing. But I can ensure you that once you get to past all of this, it can be very pleasing to work with things. Like for example here, maybe going to open this one to show a bit of what a project can look like. And yeah, mainly the fact to use Node like improve your efficiency and so the way you work, it allows for a lot of more of flexibility and even like having quick change. If you're working in the industry, something that is very important is if you can do a lot of variation quickly, like how much time it will take you to change some things and to make variation of your model. And with the node graph, that's why it's so powerful. You can very quickly make some important change. Like here, I could choose to expose some important nodes, and they will do all of this. Like for example, I could expose like a paint node that is here exposed like as a mask stains, and when someone paint on it, it will do stains, and these stains will interact properly with the material. Here you can see it's pretty simple, like table with metal and wood. So I have my materials here, wood base mat. Just going to open my object here, table, and this one is probably not used. I didn't rename it. Metal and a rust material for the table. And yeah, and here I have some custom thing. This is just a group, and inside the group, like I'm making all of my my mask. So one very handy features here, I forgot to talk about it, is about baking. This is where Substance is going to be useful. Totally forgot to talk about it, sorry. Yeah, for baking, this is something that is important because it allows you to build mask procedurally without having to paint anything. For example, here, I think I have an AO mask that doesn't seem to work. Okay. Yeah, don't know why this mask is doing nothing. Maybe this one. Yeah, okay. So this one is kind of edge mask that is kind of wipe. Yeah, you can see it here. So I'm using the curvature, so it's always important to have this. The only issue with Mari is that you of course have a baker to do like your curvature maps, ambient occlusion map and such. It's called the model render. The only issue is that it's very, very slow. You could get some pretty nice bake with it, like here, how curvature and such, but it's just so slow that you probably don't want to use it. So that's why Substance can come handy, because you will bake your maps into Substance, like curvature, how position and everything, and you will be able to import it into Mari to use it. One thing that you should have a look at is GeoChannel. I can't remember where. Maybe Michael White talk about it also. I let you see, but it's something that is very useful. This is called GeoChannel. So GeoChannel live onto an object. So if you have multiple objects, you can have multiple. Here I'm just selecting my object, which is my table. So I have my GeoChannel, and as you can see here, I have imported some of this one. So for example, if I create a new one, GeoChannel, here I can click this and import all of my textures. And why it is so useful is that now at any moment, anywhere into my graph, I can create here and come pick, for example, here my curvature. And if I look at this, I don't have curvature because I probably didn't bake it. I don't know why it's not working, but I should have my curvature. Yeah, I shouldn't have switched my version between my project because it's maybe a bit broken. So anyway, here it's a GeoChannel that I baked to a paint node. And the advantage is, yes, you can have like at any time you can pick up very quickly your maps. So here I'm in the mask builder, but from I don't know what reason I'm going into the wood material. Here I create a GeoChannel, and here for example I pick curvature, and here I can use my curvature without having to deal. And when I want to update it, I just go here, I update my curvature, and everywhere it will be updated. That's why GeoChannel think to learn them, because they will be very useful when you have like maybe model retakes that require to have UV change and you have to rebake all your maps. UV GeoChannels come very handy here. And of course, I recommend to use Substance Painter to bake your maps because it is just faster than using the Modo Render. If you, of course, you have a Substance license, else you might want to have a look at the Modo Render Baker for your maps. But you will see it's quite slow, but produce good results. And yeah, that's one of the points I totally forgot to talk about. Hope I didn't forget others. And yeah, nearly 1 hour. I think we can. I can left this here. So this was kind of messy global view of how Maui allow you to do some things and how Maui works, but yeah, it's very complex. I don't want to scare anyone, but yeah, take notes if you're trying to learn, because yeah, there is kind of a lot of shortcuts. There's a lot of things that are linked between them. You have all of this channel that some of them are paid or free that could help you to better understand Maui, but at the end it's very worthy to say no, I just can't texture any asset on Substance, like I just don't feel it. Like all of these small props like this table, I could have done it on Substance because it would probably have been quicker, but like I'm just used now to the Maui node graph. I just like it so much, and it's just so good to work with the node graph. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to use Maui. And think, yeah, Johnny just DM'd me about projection painting. I'm going to make a quick example. That would be cool. Let's create a paint, black paint, for yeah. Also something that is very useful is you can have a resolution different per paint. You even have to 32K texturing. If you have the machine that follow, I think you can do 32K. But let's not touch this one, else your PC probably is going to die. So here I have a black paint, and let's say I want maybe on the top of this table do some wipes mark because there are some people that put something. Here I have like my textures. By the way, all of these textures are imported. They doesn't exist in Maui. Here these are extension pack grunge, so you can have some of them. But here else, these are all textures that I imported, which can be compared to Substance, where you have like a default library of a lot of things. Here you can have to build a lot more. So here I'm going to use, for example, this one. I'm going to drag it here, and here, like this, we're going to make a quick projection and have some wipe marks. So here I'm maybe going to change the blending mode to add to avoid. Doesn't work, please. Yeah, it decided it doesn't want to change the blending mode. Anyway, you can have a quick look, and for example here I have my paint layer. What is kind of perturbing maybe at first, that is kind of weird, is that your paint buffer, I'm going to make it. Paint buffer is not baked. Like here, I can move my model and choose to put it anywhere after. This is at the same time quite frustrating because you're painting, you're moving, and oh fuck, I didn't forgot. I didn't bake my paint layer, so I have to luckily you can just undo everything and get back to your original position. And here, for example, I'm going to make this. We're going to add it, and like for example here, now I can warp my paint layer as I want. I can move it, then I say I bake it, I press B, it's baked, it's on my model, and now I have my my swap. So yeah, projection tools here, it's a very simple example, but they are very powerful. You have a lot of way to do this. You even have, of course, the clone stamp. I don't think I ever use it. But yeah, a lot of tools for painting that are just so smooth and so good to use. Some of them are in Substance Painter, but you doesn't have the flexibility that Maui offer to paint models. That's why a lot of character artists just prefer using Maui for projection stuff and things like that. But well, yeah, I think that was it. If I don't forget any big things, but yeah, hope you had a global overview of what is Maui, how it can improve your workflow, maybe, or just maybe allow you to get a job into the industry. And yeah, that is for me. I don't know if you have time to maybe make a question time. What do you think about it, Johnny?
Sure, go ahead. Absolutely fine.
So if anyone have some specific question, you could maybe ask them in streaming voice chat. I'm going to try to answer them, or maybe if anyone else has the answer. So yes, go ahead if you have some question. What software? Okay, Nazy is asking what software do you use Maui with? For me, the last thing I did, the project I worked on, I used Katana and Redshift to work with Maui. That was the final rendering was done with Katana and Redshift. But if you mean like what other software you can do at the same time for texturing, I also use Substance Designer. Actually, which is kind of funny, is that the extension pack really brings a lot of nodes that could allow you to do like a lot of things you can do into Substance Designer. You can also do them in Maui thanks to the extension pack. But the Substance Designer is so much better at creating procedural textures that yeah, sometimes I'm just like yeah, I need these textures, I don't have it in my library, I go to Substance Designer, I create it, then I import it in Maui, and now I have it in Maui. I can keep doing my texturing. So I use Substance Painter for baking. Yeah, Mighty Bake, Johnny is sharing Mighty Bake. I never use it, but I think it's great too. If you don't want to spend some dollars on a substance license just to bake some mesh, I think this will do the job properly to import all of your bakes into Maui. And yeah, for render engine, yeah, Maui can work with, of course, anything. It just you have maybe at first to do a lot of back and forth between your render engine and your texturing software to be sure that your maps are exported properly, they react how you should do. Yeah, maybe just a last point that comes to my mind because we are talking about render engine, just the viewport preview. This is something that I very myself barely use. Most of the time I don't use the shaded preview. I only use like a single channel preview, or I'm previewing only the diffuse, or I'm maybe previewing only my mask, my material and things. But I kind of never use the full preview, like where you can see the normal, the roughness and everything that interact, because first it's very slow. Like here, it means it have to compute all the channel, but here you have it. First, it's not very high quality. That's one of the main advantage of Substance, is that it has a very high quality viewport that you can texture inside and see your preview in real time. But in Substance, in Maui, sorry, this is I don't like working with it. I only use it sometimes to look at my normal map because it's really hard to work on a normal map just looking at blue values. It's kind of tricky, so sometimes I use the shaded preview. But finally, you get used to like working only by looking at your channels, and I think in a way it kind of improve your texturing because you are not biased by I don't know the viewport, the lighting or anything. You're only looking at the raw values. So for example, when I work my roughness, I kind of only look at here the roughness channel and see this one should be a little darker to have like maybe less roughness. This one should be whiter to have more roughness, like you can see here. Like maybe this doesn't have enough variation. Like here, if I look it from this distance, I could maybe tell myself, oh, there is maybe not enough variation on top of this. Like it's all of the same color. Instead of maybe looking at the shading preview where you will less feel what's missing inside. So yeah, shading preview, see if you want to work with, but actually I think it's maybe a good habit to start working only by looking at your individual channels to see your texturing. And yep. Does anyone else have other question? And I hope I answered your question nicely. Okay, so we wonder. Don't worry, there will be a replay that will be posted, so you could have a look at it. So Suita is asking, when texturing a face with two or more maps for 8 and bump, is there any specific way to visualize it? I don't understand what you mean by two or more maps for 8 and bump. Do you mean like you want to get an 8 texture and a bump texture, like two texture? Because in my mind, like they are the same thing, they just have a different name. But like, yeah, this is just naming convention that can be quite confusing. But for example, here in Substance, this could be called my 8. Here it's my displacement, but I could also name it my bump map. It's all depend how you use it into your render engine at the end. But it's kind of the same thing. It's in that case, it's grayscale values that are representing the elevation of your object. So for I don't know, if you put black values, it means you are doing a slope, and if you are putting white value, it means you are doing an elevation. So it goes up and black go down. So I think that's pretty the same for 8 bump and displacement. But if I have to work like with different map like this, I would know I would use it as a displacement map into my texturing, and then I could create a channel that I could use called bump and only use as a bump map into my my render engine later. So I have my displacement, my bump, and I maybe not be using any normal map. But I don't think I got what you mean by your question. Hey Wonderhouse, I would recommend you to have a look at the replay once it's posted. It's something I have explained. If you scroll a bit up, there is a link that is called Maui resource that gets you to a Notion where I posted a lot of resources to start with Maui. You have the official Maui channel that have some tutorials on it. I think Michael White channels has a lot of good stuff on it. You have even some course here from Zach Boxall, Maui texturing tutorial, which is a from scratch tutorial, for example. Here, these are more channels that like answer to specific question. I think Altruist Digital also have some maybe beginner tutorials. So see from this channel where what can you see to start learning Maui. Yes, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, it just the node graph way. So for example here, let's do it. So let's say we have here some scratches. I'm importing it as style, and here we have some stains, kind of stains. So like this. So here, yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you liked it, and it was not so confusing. I maybe should have prepared a little more about what I'm going to talk. I think it was a bit more confusing. Just answering Suita's question. So here you can see I have my scratching texture. Here I have another one, like stains. I'm just going to tile it a little bit more, 3, like this. So here they are separated, but like you use a merge node, which is like you will use it all the time, merge node. And here this does nothing because it just merge node with opacity right now, like it's one or the other, A or B, but I could use a blend mode. Like for example, I could use add blend mode, that like here mean that I'm going to add the over on top of the base, but only keeping the white values. So here I could add both on top, and they have the light values. And this is how you can build all of your texturing later using blend mode and merge. Stephanie Jedi is asking, may I ask if you suggest a lighting TD to be super familiar with Maui? Well, I don't think a lighting TD need to be super familiar. I don't think anyone at job will ask you, but like if you know how to use Maui, this could probably help maybe debugging things that could not work later in the pipeline, but I don't think it's super necessary. Probably some being able to do some look dev into some render engine like Arnold or anything is useful, but I don't think Maui is necessary for lighting TD. You will probably not touch it, but it's just good practice to know how the other department works. So when you have an issue, you're more able to react quickly and know what to do. Well, I think that's it. Yeah, a bit more than 1 hour. Hope you find some good tips inside and that you enjoy the presentation. Thanks everyone for coming, and we'll keep you updated on the replay for those who want to watch it. And hope you have fun with Maui, and don't forget to share or ask your question into General CG. A lot of people will be able to answer and help you going further. So, yep, thanks everyone for coming.